Building air leakage. The references for this particular procedure are reference appendices found in section RA 3.8, and again you can find the same documents for download on the LMS and also from the California Energy Commission website at that link shown on the screen. So the building air leakage. The purpose of this test procedure is to measure the air leakage rate through a building enclosure measured in cubic feet per minute at a negative 50 Pascal pressure difference. So what that means is the fact that we're going to be depressurizing the house to negative 50 Pascals for the purpose of this test with a blower door. Now, please don't confuse yourself with the blower door used for this particular test and the one used for the duct leakage to outside. Now, it's the same equipment. However, when you're doing duct leakage to outside, as explained previously, you're pressurizing the house to 25 Pascals. When you're talking about the building air leakage, also known as infiltration testing, also known as the blower door test, you will be depressurizing the house to negative 50 Pascals. So different test criteria. Keep that in mind. So the overall training goal here is to familiarize yourself with the building air leakage testing, equipment, protocols, and forms. Again, we're just going to give you an overview of the test, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it's designed to do, and then you're going to be doing it hands-on with the actual equipment once you actually get to your field training. And these are the sections that we're going to be covering today. So just like there was specific equipment that we're supposed to use for the duct blast test, we're going to be doing the same thing for the blower door. There's specific equipment that we can use for it as well with individually calibrated equipment. So these are the specs for the pressure gauges. Now the pressure gauges are the exact same gauges they were using for the duct blaster test. So it's the same gauges just being used for a different test. So as far as pressure gauges are concerned, they have to be digital, obviously, and they shall measure pressure differences with a resolution of 0.1 Pascals and have an accuracy of plus or minus 1% of reading or 0.5 Pascals, whichever is greater. The blower door fans used for building air leakage testing shall measure airflow after making any necessary air density corrections with an accuracy of plus or minus 5%. And here in this picture, you see the two different blower doors that we have, just like we had Minneapolis and Retrotech for the duct blaster. It's the same thing for the blower door. You still have the same manufacturers that make this equipment. They look slightly different, but nonetheless, they do the exact same thing. Now, calibration is a little different. So the blower door and associated pressure testing instruments shall be tested annually for calibration using a standard for field testing of calibration provided by the equipment manufacturer. The HERS rater shall maintain a written log of the annual calibration check to verify all equipment accuracy for a period of 3 years. This calibration log can actually be asked by the QA rater from you when your work is actually being QA'd to make sure that you are actually, in fact, calibrating the equipment. In the back of your Cheers manual, you'll find a section that has to do with equipment field calibration. And those are the calibration procedures for both the duct blaster and the blower door for the Minneapolis and Retrotech equipment. In addition to that, we're going to go through those procedures further during the field training as well. Before we actually conduct the test, we have to prepare the house for testing. So there's different things that we have to prep and make sure that they're in the correct setting before we can actually run the blower door. So certain components of a house you will have to prepare for building for air leakage testing. And those are doors and windows, attached garages, crawl spaces, attics, interior doors, vents and dampers, whole house fans, supply registers and return grills, window vents and through-wall vents, and combustion appliances. So doors and windows that separate conditioned space from unconditioned space shall be closed and latched. So any window or door that separates the exterior of the house to the interior of the house has to be closed and latched. In attached garages, if the blower door is installed between the house and the garage, meaning that you're installing the blower door on the door that separates the house from the inside of the garage, Then the garage shall be opened to the outside by opening at least one exterior garage door. So if you're installing the blower door at the separating door between the house and the garage, either the main garage door or a side garage door has to be open within the actual garage for the test to take place. As far as crawl spaces are concerned, if a crawl space is inside the conditioned space boundary, interior access doors and hatches between the house and the crawl space shall be opened, and exterior crawl space access door, vents, and hatches shall be closed. So basically, if it's a living crawl space or the crawl space is within the conditioned boundary of the house, you have to take it into account as part of the house. So the hatch to the crawl space will be open, and then any exterior opening from the crawl space to the outside of the house has to be closed. If a crawl space is outside the conditioned space boundary, interior access doors and hatches shall be closed. For compliance testing purposes, crawl space vents shall be open. So again, if the crawl space now is an outside crawl space, meaning that it's outside of the living space, then the hatch to the crawl space has to be closed because it would be the equivalent of an exterior door. For attics, it's the same principle as the crawl space. So if an attic is inside the conditioned space boundary, interior access doors and hatches between the house and the conditioned attic shall be opened, and attic exterior access doors and windows shall be closed. So again, if the attic is part of the conditioned space of the house, the door to the attic will be left open, and any doors or windows that go from the attic to the outside of the living space have to be closed, just like you would count in the rest of the house. If an attic is outside the conditioned space boundary, interior access doors and hatches shall be closed, and exterior access doors, dampers, or vents shall be left in their found position, and their position during testing shall be recorded on the test report. Interior doors shall be open within the conditioned space boundary. Any interior door has to be open. Chimney dampers and combustion air inlets on solid fuel appliances. The dampers shall be closed. Please take precautions to prevent ashes or soot from entering the house during testing. Although general intent of this standard is to test the building in its normal operating condition, it may be necessary to temporarily seal openings to avoid drawing soot or ashes into the house. So you will be depressurizing the house, meaning that you'll be sucking air outside of the house. When the blower door starts and you depressurize the house, the blower door is going to be sucking air from whatever crevice it finds within the house itself. If there are ashes or dirt or anything in the chimneys, in the appliances, or whatever it is that they may be, those ashes, that dirt, those contaminants will be pulled into the house and through the house, depositing on the carpet, making a mess, generally speaking, just causing problems. So that's why they allow you to do this if need be. Any temporary sealing, keep in mind though, shall be noted in the test report. Combustion appliance flue gas vents shall be left in their normal appliance off condition. Any fan or appliance capable of inducing airflow across the building enclosure shall be turned off. This includes, but is not limited to, clothes dryers, attic fans, kitchen and bathroom exhaust fans, outdoor air ventilation fans, air handlers, and crawl space and attic ventilation fans. Continuously operating ventilation systems shall be turned off and the air openings sealed, preferably at the exterior terminations. So keep in mind that's continuously operating ventilation systems, so not the intermittent fans that you see in a bathroom or in a laundry room necessarily. That exception for to be turned off and sealed, keep in mind that's only for continuously operating ventilation systems. It's very specific. For motorized dampers which connect the conditioned space to the exterior, the damper shall be placed in its closed position and shall not be further sealed. So you're going to close it and you're not going to seal it any further. Non-motorized dampers which connect the conditioned space to the exterior or unconditioned spaces, those type of dampers shall be left as found. If the damper will be forced open or closed by the induced test pressure, the fact shall be reported in the test report. Closed dryer exhaust openings should not be sealed off even if there is no dryer attached, but this fact should be noted in the test report. And the picture that you see on the right is obviously an example of a dryer vent without a dryer connected to it. Undampened, fixed dampers, or intentional openings between conditioned space and the exterior or unconditioned spaces shall be left open or fixed position. However, temporary blocking shall be removed. Now, along with the same subject, keep in mind the exception again. Undampened supply air or exhaust air openings of continuously operating mechanical ventilation systems shall be sealed, preferably sealed at the exterior of the enclosure, and ventilation fans shall be turned off. So we mentioned this earlier when we were talking about fans already. But keep in mind, continuously operating mechanical ventilation systems shall be sealed and the fans will be turned off. So this exception only applies to continuously operating mechanical ventilation systems, nothing else. Whole building fan louver shutters shall be closed, and if there is a seasonal cover, it shall be installed. Now for evap coolers, the opening to the exterior shall be placed in its off condition, and if there is a seasonal cover as well, it shall be installed. Operable window trickle vents and through the wall vents shall be closed and or sealed. These you can actually seal if need be. Supply registers and turn grills shall be left open and uncovered. Plumbing drains with P-traps shall be sealed or filled with water if empty. The reason this is important is because if you do the blower door and this is not the case, you're going to be sucking sewer gases through those pipes. So it's important that the P-trap is filled or sealed so that you're not going to be bringing contaminants or odors within the house. Combustion appliances shall remain off during the test. If during the test induced pressures affect operable dampers, seasonal covers, etc., reestablish the setup and consider reverse direction of the fan flow. It's very important that combustion appliances stay off or on pilot during this test because of the fact that you will be depressurizing the house. If the combustion appliances are running, there is a chance that you might create backdraft, which is obviously a hazardous condition. So make sure 100% that the combustion appliances are either off or on pilot.